Welcome to Charleston Uncorked, where the low country comes alive. I'm your host, Tony Leone, along with my main man, Scott Harefield, and come on a journey with us through the Holy City as we explore food gems, craft cocktails, local sports, life outdoors, and the issues that are shaping our city. We are pouring it all out, all low country, no filter. So today we got a good one. We've got Owais from Jadoons Park Circle Market now. When my man Scott brought this as a guest, I was saying, who, what, why was my biggest question.
Yeah.
And so, but we got you. We got you here.
Yeah.
So I really want you to kick this off as to why Owais, why is he here, why is he kind of one of the early guests in Charleston Uncorked?
Yeah, sure. So, first of all, thank you, Owais. Welcome.
No, thank you for having me.
To Charleston Uncorked. And yeah, I mean, for a long time, I was going to the Quick Stop, which was right down the street from where I lived in Park Circle when my wife and I first started living together. And one of the best selections, we talked one of the other episodes about, the big craft beer cranes where you only had so many locations to buy the stuff. And so the Quick Stop was always like my go-to spot. And so every time I go in there, Owais would come out and be like, hey man, how's it going? And we start talking about what the new stuff is and where to get it, what should I try, and the whole experience I had with him was over the top because of the service, the knowledge on all of his products. So I kept going back, and then seeing where they are today, it's just like all the events he's been a part of. I was like, we got to do an episode with him. So cool. I'd love for him to start us off by telling us a little bit about who he is, where he's from, and how Jadoons got started, and we'll kind of go from there.
Yeah. So basically, I'm originally from Pakistan. Family is from there. I moved to the U.S. when I was 3 years old, but my life was a lot of moving back and forth between the two countries. So, like my childhood was spent a lot of it in Pakistan, and that's kind of because of the background my father had. Was an entrepreneur, always in the retail business, and sometimes business was good, and we would be in the U.S., and sometimes the business would start to fail, and we would just wrap everything up and go back home and kind of do something over there. So, what led that to be is just growing up very familiar with both cultures. And then we moved to Charleston in 2010, and my father, he opened up, it used to be a bagel shop that had closed down, and somebody had converted it into a very skeleton of a convenience store. Didn't even, I think, had a name, and they wanted to kind of exit out. And at that time, what we had was a gas station in Florida that was failing miserably. It was 2010. This is right out of this Great Recession that we had. Yeah. The BP oil spill had just happened. People hated gas stations. We were in Florida where the Gulf was impacted. Florida, Deerfield Beach area. Yeah, so all of this was impacted. And then what we had was a very tiny station. The ones that you don't even see anymore, like the one that just closed, that closed back in 2017 across Jadoon's Market. So right across Jadoon's Market, there's a empty, abandoned building that used to be a gas station.
It used to be a BP, right?
That used to be a BP.
Yeah.
How ironic.
Yeah. So that's a perfect tie-in. And so we had kind of one of those, even smaller. It was a shell. And what had happened was there was a corporate-owned gas station, that no matter what we would price our gas at, and at this time people are price sensitive, they're coming out of a Great Recession, the oil spills happened, and whatever price we would put the gas at, the corporate would always go below.
That's cool.
And no matter how great of a service you're offering, if that price on that board is what's driving people in, there's not much you can do. And so we find out very quickly that this is unsustainable, and we're really like, all right, we got to exit out. And this is what my father literally did. He went on bizbuysell.com. It's a business where people they list their businesses for sale, or people buy them. And what he ended up doing was found the cheapest business for sale, pretty much on the East Coast, and that just happened to be North Charleston, South Carolina, where this guy had this like.
So the whole East Coast. It wasn't even like Charleston area.
He was like, I need to like, desperately need to make this work. This business is losing money every month. I need to exit out, and it's either going back home to Pakistan or giving the U.S. one more shot.
Wow.
And so like whatever leftover scraps of money that he had, and took some loans from friends and family, and just went on a search for a business, something that he knew, which was retail, and
I love that.
and bought this what's now known as Jadoons Market.
Yeah.
That was like I mean, you can. I'll try to see if I can send you guys pictures of it from back in the day. I mean, it was like.
How old were you when this was going on?
I was 17.
Okay, so
16,
you're
17, yeah.
You're young, but you're aware enough to see.
Yeah.
You know that things are going on.
Yeah.
This has got to work.
Yeah.
Now, are you working into businesses with your dad at this point?
So up until that point, where we had that gas station that was failing, I was not involved in the business.
Yeah.
I was living actually in Pakistan, and then I came over to the U.S. And then about 6 months in, we decided that this business is not working, the Shell gas station, and we have to move. And that's then at that moving point is where I started to become a lot more involved. Up until that time, my older brother, he was a lot more involved in the day-to-day of the businesses. And at that point, we're like, all right, we're moving the family to Charleston, and this is the business that's for sale, and we're taking it over. And and I mean, it was like we had no budget for any staff. There was no budget for anything.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just like a bunch of loans trying to get through it. And so I was the staff. I'm that classic immigrant kid that you see in any, if you see if you go to an Asian food place or something like that, and you see the little kid behind the counter, that was essentially me.
Right.
So little did we know, and so it's like, obviously it's a lot of, making good decisions, but also it is just being at the right place at the right time in many ways, and that neighborhood started to transition.
Yep.
And we've always been about the neighborhood. Like, it's the community, it's the neighborhood,
Yeah.
it's like Scott said, it's the conversations in the aisles, it's listening to people, and that slowly, very, very slowly, but kind of started to layer on, and and then craft beer happened, right? This was 2012, 2013.
Yep.
So
Makes sense.
Craft beer happened, and what happened was, like, again, we all like to give you even more context and zoom out is and I want to put like the southern hospitality element of Charleston. And where we're originally from in Pakistan, and you guys can look this up, we're ethnically Pashtun, which is a very like hospitable, like culturally, like it's very big to be very, inviting to guests. And so like I think having that like culturally ingrained, almost genetically in us, and being in Charleston where Southern hospitality is a thing. And especially like that many years ago, where everybody's like it was like from Florida coming to Charleston was like a huge difference. Everybody was so much nicer, like in the retail world.
That's right, Florida. That's right.
Yeah, no, but like in the retail world, like you make a little bit of a mistake in Florida, as a personal experience behind the counter. And there's a line behind you, and people, you can already see their body language. They're going impatient, like this idiot, can't run the register, kind of thing. Here, everybody was like, "Oh, no worries, take your time." Like I think everything was a little slower. Everything was a little bit more nicer. Everything was like, and we're like, "This place is great. This place, we love it."
That's cool.
And that's where we started getting to know people, and people started having conversations with us, and those conversations led to beer. So like it started off with Sierra Nevadas and Sweetwaters. Like, can you bring in Sweetwater 420? Can you bring in Sierra Nevada Pale Ale? And all these terms were foreign to us. All we knew was Bud Light. and Budweiser and Miller Lite and Coors, right? Like, and we're like, yeah, let me look into it. So we would call our reps up and be like, hey, this is somebody's requesting this beer, and like, oh, we don't have that, and then that's how we started. Like, we would take everybody's suggestion very seriously, look into it, spend some time, make some calls, do some research, try to figure out how to bring it in, and slowly but surely we started bringing them in, and people started responding to it. And then more people started giving us feedback, like, hey, this sucks, or this is great, or we want more of this brand, or we want more of this brewery, or this brewery opened up here. Can you look into that? And in 2012, we made another move at that time of kind of renovating the store a little bit to what's now known as the beer wall. It's something that the community calls it. It's not even our term. It's that
That's
14.
awesome.
It's that 14-door massive walk-in cooler that we have chock full of craft beer. So we decided to invest in that. And
Look at, I can see it.
Really?
Because I haven't seen. I'm going to see it for the first time.
yeah.
After this.
Right.
Okay,
So we'll have
awesome.
some-
He's not been there, which is why I'm excited to get like the raw reaction of somebody.
Yeah, it'll be.
He won't know what to compare it to until we get the pictures.
Yeah.
But I do because
You've seen it all.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm ready
we
for a
lived
beer
there.
wall.
You
Beer
know,
wall sounds fun to me.
Yeah.
I'm into that.
I mean, we lived in Park Circle right before we built our house in 2010. So we were there like 2008-ish. And then,
Okay.
you know, we built our house
Yeah.
in Hanahan in 2010. No, 2009, 2010.
Okay.
So, but ever since then,
Yeah.
you know, that was the spot.
Yeah.
You
No.
know, 'cause
No. He's
before
one of the
us-
OGs.
Yeah.
So he's one of the ones you remember from
Yeah,
early
I mean, and that's the amazing thing. Like I like Scott, and I've got like so many others that are still
That's
like
awesome.
the OGs. Like, you know, they might have moved to John's Island or somewhere or the other, but like every time they're coming to Park Circle, they'll stop in, and you know, if I catch them, we'll have a great conversation
That's
again.
great.
And kind of,
Yeah.
So like, and that's where it ties back into like, you know, I think that's very Charleston. I think that's very. And it kind of really ties back into our cultural
Yeah.
kind of lock.
What was it? What did you call where you're from? Like you said, what's it called?
Yeah, so originally from Pakistan,
Yeah.
and grew up in the city of Karachi, which is the
Okay.
largest city in Pakistan.
Okay.
But like
It's
our
coastal too,
home,
though, right?
it's coastal. But our home village, or our home kind of like where my background is from, like where my father was born and mom was born and everybody, it's the north area of Pakistan, and that area is Ahmedabad, but ethnically speaking, like most of the people living there, and Pakistan is very like ethnically, they're like 4 provinces or states, and each one is literally named after the ethnicity that's the majority over there.
Oh,
So like Sindh is like majority Sindhi, the north is majority Pashtun, Balochistan is Balochi, and then Punjab, which is a famous one because India also has a Punjab, so Punjabi, you know, or Punjabi music.
Okay,
so
yeah.
those are Punjabis. So like just trying to give context here, and so we're the Pashtun kind of thing, and everybody, just like New York City or like America in general, is like a melting pot of all sort of international worlds.
Right.
Karachi is the melting pot of Pakistan, where
Cool.
it's like all sorts of ethnicities kind of come together. And
Do you miss it?
I do miss some aspects of it
Yeah.
for sure. I grew up a lot over there, and there's some elements that I think are amazing
Yeah.
and great. And obviously, like any country, it has its own set of problems, and you know, it doesn't get easier if it's a poorer country and it's in the kind of quote unquote developing world.
Right.
So, and then you know, corruption and this and that. So it has its set of issues, but there are things there that, like, for example, I think I'm biased obviously, but like food, I think the best in the world. Hospitality.
Best
is-
in the world.
I
Wow.
think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
That's
underrated.
pretty cool.
Very underrated.
Okay, we gotta go.
I know. That's what I'm thinking. We got a tour guide. Right
Yeah,
here.
yeah, no, absolutely. Like, if you guys are serious, like, I would love to,
That would be crazy.
yeah, like, make a trip or something.
I like it.
Yeah. You've got a lot of hospitality. You've got very kind people, and you have some of the most varied landscape. Again, in the world, like to give you perspective, like you're looking at some of the deepest ports in the world, you're looking at a coastal area like Karachi and kind of the south. But then as you head into the north, top 10 peaks in the world, right? 6 of them are in Pakistan.
Holy smokes! I
So
had no
in
idea.
like this, 100 square mile radius, you've got 6 of the top peaks in the world.
Wow.
You
Like
do a
that.
bunch of hiking when you
So only if we go to the north. It's not super accessible. It's getting better, but yeah, I've been to very close to the base camp of I think it's the 9th highest peak in the world, which is Nanga Parbat. It is gorgeous. I mean, yeah, like K2's there. Like the Gashimbrum 6 and another one. Like they're like, and that's just the top ones. I mean, you've got such a crazy landscape, and and so here's the thing, like when because I think of 9/11 and the early 2000s and where TSA got created and all of this happened, and Pakistan bordering Afghanistan, and kind of got lumped into this like Middle East kind of perception in the West, and like I being in high school or middle school, kind of growing up during the quote unquote war on terror, I would be talking to the kids, my peers, and you could tell like their perception of Pakistan was just like desert,
Yeah.
just a bunch of sand, nothing to do.
Guilty. I mean, if I'm thinking 17-year-old me,
Yeah.
I would be thinking the same thing. 'cause
Exactly. Yeah.
geography
Yeah.
was
Well, plus
not
that's an
strong.
indictment of South Carolina education isn't exactly top tier back then either.
And I don't blame anybody for it,
Yeah.
or and that makes sense. Like if I was growing up here and this is what I saw, and I think I would have had the same perception.
Yeah.
But the reality is like it's very varied. It's very different. It's very robust.
Yeah.
And so.
Interesting.
But yeah, so I don't know where we got.
No, I'm just curious.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because
Going back to the transition from where you came from to now living here in the Charleston area and opening up a store with your family, so what was that transition like? When you came on to help with the business, like at what point did that start?
Yeah, so it was actually very looking back at it doesn't seem very painful, but I think it was at the moment. It's kind of like kids, right? Like the days are long, but it's very fulfilling. It's the kind of the same analogy I would use here. It's like so to give you an idea, like it was literally my father and me in the early days, kind of just making it work.
how old was your dad about this time?
This is about 15 years ago. So he was 60.
Oh, so he's
No. 55.
okay.
55. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the youngest of 4.
So you're in the middle, but you're not a huge runway. Like I'm trying to think, because my dad was an entrepreneur. When you're at 55, you're either humming or you're like, this next move's got to be it.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to
you're
get.
desperate. Yeah.
Because if he's 40, he's like, I got a
Especially for
runway.
kids.
Yeah, that's a lot. And you're in North Charleston, which is also in this wild transition of what we used to be very poor, right?
Oh, yeah,
And then
100%.
you're watching the art kids come in. I remember this. Like you see all your film kids and the musicians were moving in there.
Yeah.
Which leans into the market of good beer. We were all drinking good beer.
Yeah.
Well, PBRs and good beer.
Yeah.
Nice mix.
He wasn't there yet.
But yeah, it's like North Charleston was rough at that time. There's no question about it. Like the socioeconomic thing, all sorts of, there's all sort of macro reasons for it. But like the reality was, we were in the thick of it. We were we had great regulars, very loyal regulars. I mean, I'm talking like, all sorts of families coming in, but at the same time, and we're listening to everybody. Like, hey, I want this flavor of beer or this brand, but also like I want these Swisher sweets, and I want this, and I want that. So like we're like that's the community. We're here for it. We're here to serve them. That was the kind of the mentality that we had. And so. And people loved it. Like they were getting, like you go to a Circle K, you're standing in line, the guy doesn't care. you know, it's such a sad experience. You know, like you go in, it's just, it's never, like it's very rare to have a good experience, right?
Yeah.
And then you come into an independently owned shop, and the guy behind the counter is actually one of the decision makers, and you can talk to him and be like, hey, can you look into this for me, or can you do that, or can you do this? And you know, and that person's actually responding and kind of like follows up back next time he sees you. That's a stark difference, right? And that's kind of the beauty of any local business, right? Like any smaller thing. And so with the transition, though, it was like initially we were, you know, we were getting, and keep in mind, like, you know, this is Quick Stop in 2010. We're literally next to a mobile home park that's next to us. And, you know, initially I remember getting like all sorts of, I like to call them tests, like to see how tough these guys are, or like how much can they push back, or they like, it's like a little bit of a game, right? Sometimes with some people it really is. And so like, I remember having to kick people out of the store and getting into arguments and this and that, and you know, trying to really make it a place that's inviting for families and just regular people who just need their stuff, you know, and kind of making it work. And so that was tough, you know, dealing with a rougher base of people that were coming in, and then just in general, I mean, it was literally like 2 people for the first 3 years, and then my uncle came on board. But it was my father working from morning to night. At that time, we used to close at 11 p.m. We used to open up at like 7 a.m. So it was
a long day.
7 days a week. I was in high school, Somerville High School, and I remember I would come back from school, like from the school bus. I think it was like 3 or 4 p.m. is when I would get back, have a little bit of lunch or dinner or whatever it was, and then I would head to the shop. And then I would come back with my father at 11, and then I'd wake up for morning for the school at 6. So it was a lot of that for the first like 2-3 years.
Yeah.
And just kind of making it happen. But I mean, I remember like my father going to, like, when I would come in, he would go in the back room and sleep, just to catch some Z's. So like, yeah. So the initial like transition was very. I mean, very rough, and then you had like all sorts of issues and problems, and no vendor like probably like 2014, 2013, people talked to us about this beer called Founders KBS, Kentucky Breakfast Stout, right?
Oh yeah.
Right, and it's like a very, especially in the craft beer peak days, this was like a sought after one. Another one's like Hop Slam, Bell's Hop Slam, right? Like people would literally follow the beer truck around town. Like if it stopped at Total Wine, they would go into Total Wine, and you know,
that's
follow.
crazy.
And then like and there would be like limits on some of these beers per person, right? You can only buy 1 4-pack per person or whatever. And I remember arguing with my distributors that I wanted allocations for these, right? And they were like, they would ignore me because it was just a Quick Stop in North Charleston next to a mobile home park that they don't know what they're doing, and you know, I'd rather sell this to a Bottles or a Total Wine or a boutique craft beer spot, right? That knows what they're doing. And I remember like having to ask and request and reaching out to founders themselves and be like, hey, can we get an allocation for this? I'm fairly certain like would be a great fit for your thing, and you know, so that was like the initial part of the struggles, is just getting some of the things in there that initially we were not really entertained for.
Right. So how did you get into researching and knowing about these beers?
Yeah.
As somebody who doesn't drink alcohol.
Yeah. So
That's the most fascinating part. So
Yeah.
people should know that you
Yeah.
don't drink.
I don't
right?
drink, no.
And so that's a great question. So
very ironic.
yeah.
So initially it was just listening to people and throwing a lot of stuff on the wall, literally the beer wall, and seeing and seeing what sticks, right?
Yeah,
What's working, what's not working. It was a lot of like unfiltered guesses, a lot of like not even like good estimates and stuff like that. So, you know, just making mistakes all the time,
Yeah.
was one way to learn, and then listening to people, and then the third thing was really I spent at that time there was Beer Advocate. I don't know if you.
Oh yeah.
Was it a magazine or a publication?
It was like a forum.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, it's a magazine and an app and everything, but there was also like a forum page, right?
Okay.
Like at the time, Facebook pages weren't big and Reddit wasn't a thing, and so it was community forums, and I would spend a lot of time just browsing through and looking at like, hey, what are people liking, and what are people like discussing, and so I spent a lot of time kind of nerding out, even though I wasn't part of it, and then people would come in. And I kind of had that back end knowledge, and then the front end knowledge of just talking to the community, and then making all those mistakes all the time. And it was a combo of that. And then Untapped came out, and
Yep, that's the one that's still that's the
yeah,
one
that's the
rocks.
big one
That's the
right
big
now.
one.
Yeah. But before Untapped, basically the Untapped was Beer Advocate back in the day, and Untapped is very easy and casual, and it just has like basically a star system, or like 5 points or whatever it is. Beer Advocate was like in-depth discussions on beer, like the ones that I would have with Scott or people who are craft beer enthusiasts, and go into like taste profiles and smell and whatnot. So like just realizing like IPAs don't last forever. You want them gone within 2 months, and us keeping an eye on that, right? Like ordering enough, or putting, or we would literally hand people free packs of beer as after like 3 months, right? If an IPA, so like that.
Did they know why you were doing that?
Yeah, we would disclose like, hey, this has been. I need the space. This is 3-4 months old. It's not ideal.
I was a recipient of
It's
quite a
marketing
few
101.
beers. Yeah.
Give value,
Yeah.
and receive long term.
Yeah, and people would realize, all right, these guys are paying attention to when this thing was canned on and when this thing is not going to be good anymore. So every time you come
That
in,
was huge.
you're almost guaranteed that. I mean, like any retail spot, we
Yeah.
still struggle with it, but like for the most part, you're looking at the freshest arrivals. You're looking at really, it was about just doing our job.
Now, I'm very curious because
Above and beyond.
yeah. So, as a business owner, you hear these things and you're like, all right, it's revenue. It's obviously you've got inventory.
Yeah.
Did you know? Because I'm very fascinated with the fact that you would actually give beer away. Because I can imagine how many regular convenience stores just leave that shit on the stack it,
Yeah.
and then you buy it and you're like, why does this taste like? Were you saying, I know this is going to come back? Were you actively looking at that as a loyalty program or a marketing strategy? Did you have the business mindset to understand what you were doing, or were you just nerding out because you're like, this is what I'm into?
I don't think I had the mind for it
Yeah.
at that time, to be honest with you. I think, and I don't think it was nerding out either. Like looking back at that, I think it was just like, this guy's a regular, he comes in all the time, he supports us, and I think it ties, and like, if he like, here's a 4-pack, it's been sitting on the shelf. The idea, like, it ties back directly into loyalty and marketing.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it, but at the time that was not the frame of mind. The frame of mind really, I think, was tying back into the hospitality aspect of it.
Yeah.
Right. Like, he's a regular. He's a huge supporter. Like, we have great conversations. Here's a 4-pack on the house because it's just a tad bit beyond the date.
Speaking of loyalty programs,
We actually now have a loyalty program.
So from then to now, that's how long it took?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was our loyalty right there. That was you coming up.
You were doing it before you knew it.
Yeah.
Well, it's a fascinating lesson because I hear you saying, I listen to my customers and then I act. And you go, oh, it's a simple marketing plan or a business plan. But it is so woefully underutilized in any market right now.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, the bar is low to have loyal customers. I mean, it is so low. And just hearing that is fascinating, and that you kind of lucked up into that, getting the Scotts of the world and getting people to go, oh, this person cares.
Yeah.
Easy in in theory, but not executed well along the market. So, but you have one now. You have a loyalty program.
We have a loyalty program now.
All right, what's that look like?
So so we just implemented it. We actually upgraded our software system So the software system we installed back in 2011 was still what we were working on literally up until a month ago, and it was just not there's just too much to keep track of that I just couldn't keep up, and I was like, this is enough of a pain point that I need to get rid of it.
Right.
And one of the benefits of upgrading to something just that belongs in the 21st century was a loyalty program component. And I was like, yeah, we're definitely doing that. And all it is right now at the moment is something simple because I'm just kind of testing it out, trying to figure it out. But it is every 20 visits, people get $5 back.
Cool.
It gets you, if you put your email, it gets you, we're launching a newsletter, so it gets you to that newsletter, and we've got cool plans with that newsletter, as well of making people help us decide what goes on the shelf. So we get samples and things like that. So I'm trying to think of a way to utilize that newsletter and connect it to kind of our internal way of thinking, hey, we got a sample of these 5 things. Maybe we hand it out to 5 newsletter subscribers and get their feedback off of it. So that's kind of, and then $5 off your entire, you can come in anytime during your birthday month and get $5 back.
Cool.
So that's what it is, but I can foresee it, depending on how things go, becoming a little bit more robust than just a cash back, essentially. I would love to have it be, divided into if this person's a craft beer enthusiast, maybe a couple of cans of the latest drops is free, and then for this part, if he's a hemp enthusiast or she's a hemp enthusiast, it would be that. If somebody wants, it's a grocery pantry person, it's this new brown butter Alfredo sauce that we got in is part of the. So
or the Jadoon's rice.
Jadoon's rice, yeah.
So Scott's got notes like crazy. I'm going, what? So we've talked about craft beer, and you know more about this because you've been there. But because I'm curious, so what? There's so many notes. Pandemic love is one that we got to touch on because I've got to figure out what that is, so we can't forget. But talking about where it is now, what do you, if you go to Jadoons, what am I seeing and what are you buying and what's involved?
So we'll give you guys a tour here in a little bit, but just from seeing it from start to finish, he's expanded. He has a whole nother lot of parking spaces. It used to be 3 or 4 maybe.
Yeah, it was 5.
Yeah.
With one handicap spot.
Right.
Yeah.
So 4.
Nice way to put that.
Yeah.
Usually, don't sue me.
Yeah. We got y'all on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he carries everything from, very local. The thing that turned me on to the whole place was, just the experience of coming in and Owais coming out and talking to me and being like, hey, what did you think of that beer that you got last time? I mean, I was going in there once a week, once every other week at a minimum. And so he was the only place that was doing what he said, keeping it fresh. A lot of these other places, I was into Two Tides Brewing at the time, and they do a lot of fruit beers, and a lot of IPAs that if you leave them out, they go bad. And so go to him, and every time he's like, look, come from behind the counter, walk me down the aisle and be like, look, we got this one in, I think you're going to like this one, it's a lot like this other brewery. He turned me on to so many great new beers, and just having the conversation, walking up and down the aisle was, what brought me back.
So what's the transition to then getting other products in that? Were people asking you for things, or did you just?
No, then it's like craft beer was our bread and butter, and it was and it is and it has been for a long time. But I didn't just want to do craft beer, right?
Yeah.
As I started to grow older and kind of beer's great, we're doing that, and the mentality was here's the mentality, right? It was all right, people are coming in for craft beer. this guy is getting, they're not getting a Miller High Life or something, which by the way is coming back. There's always like 3 or 4 years of a domestic that is really just pops off.
And High Life's it?
Right now, I think it's High Life. Like the ponies, the High Life ponies, the little, the little glass bottles of those.
That's hilarious.
That's I think it's coming back. But like it was PBR for a long time, Coors Banquet, and now it's transitioning into High Life. But there's always, so I was like, these guys are more paying attention to the ingredients, the hops, what goes behind it, the value, all of this stuff. And then they're like looking for something for maybe their lady or their family, and the rest of the selection doesn't really match that. So like, what can we do to kind of make this more family-friendly experience, right? Not just for the guy. Because generally speaking, it was mainly.
It makes sense. Yeah.
It was and you think about it, right? And the other thing I had in mind, and very candidly, was this is North Charleston. This is kind of 2015-16 era. It's getting better in terms of crime rates and just the amount of craziness. But at the same time, we're a quick stop, right? From the surface of it, we're a quick stop. From the outside, it looks. It doesn't look like anything is going on inside.
Right.
That's outside of a regular old convenience store. But like anybody who knew and had walked in, kind of and then you would tell your friend, and it was all word of mouth. Like it was completely word of mouth. Yeah.
Which makes it cool.
Yeah.
Kind of like where we are right now.
Right.
Which was great, right? And I would love to kind of dive into that because it took me a long time to rebrand because of that factor. But it was like, I was like, in my mind, like, and it goes back to, I guess culturally too, it's like, very protective of family, right? So you're like, I don't want my wife or my sister or my daughter stopping in a place where I'm not 100% comfortable stopping in, right? So I was like, how can we make that better where, like, you can run down and be like confident that this is a okay stop, right? And so we worked on that, and part of that was product selection, like making sure if somebody's coming in for craft beer, they can match it up to maybe an organic gummy for their kid, and maybe a Jenny's ice cream for the family movie night, or a popcorn that goes well with it. So that was the mentality of like just taking craft beer and zooming out of that and seeing like what else can we do.
Right.
And it was about just and like right now it's where at a point where I'm just like what's not the best, but what's just a little bit better. Like if this is the basmati rice that's available at Trader Joe's or Whole Foods or at any other Publix or whatever, I'm like, but I know there's a better one. I've had it, and let me see if we can bring that in or somehow do it. So like just being a little bit better, right?
Yeah.
That's always what's about. Like just making the effort to be just a little bit better on all fronts. So like if there's a better version of something available, why not?
Why not? And you're still talking to people about you still coming from around the counter and saying?
Oh yeah. I work there every day. I'm always there doing like the peak hours, and that's the thing I'm struggling with right now is probably I love it.
Yeah.
I love doing that. That's like the core of who I am, I think. Having those conversations and being in the moment, but it's also very hard to take that and scale it, right? Like you can't. It's very hard to do that. So that's kind of where it's like a point where maybe I am not as good at.
Well, let's be honest. Scott told me you're a new dad.
Yes. Yeah.
It doesn't make the shit easy at all, right?
How's that going?
It's been really good. It's been really good. Initially, it's like when people say it's life changing, and I heard that before, and I knew it's gonna be, but man, is it life changing? Like
Yeah.
like by that I mean like there's the day before, there's the day of the hospital period, and then there's your day after, right? And the day before, to me now, like that life I had before, it seems years and years ago, even though it's only
Right.
been 2 months.
2 months.
Right? But it seems like that was a different Owais, and that was a different like lifestyle, and
Yeah.
it was, and now we're like, and I'm not saying this in a negative way at all. It's just
Right.
it's just the change. It's so immense.
Yeah.
It's so quick. Like there's no time. Your routine, everything.
Well, every parent listening to this knows you don't have to explain.
Yeah.
The only people, and it's one of those things which I can't even explain it to you.
Yes.
It's in line with you don't know how much you can love something until you have a
Yeah.
kid, and you're like,
Absolutely.
okay, yeah, I'm sure, and then you're like, no, it's real.
No.
Yeah.
This is
it's
it.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then you don't know how much your life's about to change. You're like, okay, sure. And then you're
Yeah,
like,
that
oh,
was me, right?
I'm operating on 4 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
Got it. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then people will tell you you're gonna have like bad sleep, and you're gonna struggle, and the days are gonna be long, and this is gonna, and you listen to it all, you understand it all, but until you're in those shoes, it can't hit.
Yeah.
It can't hit.
Yeah.
You know, and so I think you just have to experience it if you haven't, and if people have experienced it, no. But it's been great. He's gotten to a point where he's becoming a lot more expressive. He's fully tracking like us. He's aware. He's smiling. He has more nuanced ways of communicating versus just like crying. The first couple of weeks, he was a little colic, and so that was very tough. But I'm so glad he's gotten so much better from that. And it's very it's hard to describe. It's very fulfilling. It's tough, but it's fulfilling. It's kind of like like a business, right? I hate to compare that, but like in some ways it is.
Well, your business is your baby.
Yeah,
That's what they say.
So is marriage, right? So how's
Yeah.
your wife adjusting?
Why-
to
why-
being a mother?
She's a trooper. I mean, the only reason I am doing as well as can be, I think, is because of my wife. She like, I mean, yeah.
Nice shot. Good job.
I'll have to send this part.
Good job. We'll clip it for you.
But no.
So how'd you guys meet?
So this is interesting. So I think I have to give context here. So in Pakistan and in India, like, or you know, this is probably one of the largest subpopulations of part of the world, right? Subcontinent.
Right.
Very common to have arranged marriage, right? And when I say arranged marriage, like people who are not as familiar with it are thinking like, you know, it's some radical, crazy way of getting married, but it like, you know, you're excited at like age of like 6 that you're marrying this person or something.
Yeah, I think
right?
we think of like Love at First Sight, the reality show or something like that.
Yeah. So all it really is the easiest way to kind of break it down is like what happens is, you know, for example, in my case, and this is the case across the country and across the subcontinent, is, you know, my mom has a friend whose cousin has this person that she knows, and kind of like just some like 5 people removed kind of thing,
Right.
and you know, she's like, hey, just like any mom, right, or in any family, like, when are you getting married, or like, I know this girl, she's real sweet, kind of thing, right? So that's the initial spark of it,
Right.
and that's how it kind of happens. And you know, we're like much more just culturally more, I guess, more approachable to that way. We're like,
Okay.
all right, mom, if you think somebody's great, let's figure it out, right?
Right.
And so that's kind of how it goes. And this other side says the same thing. That's like 5 removed from you. And what happens is the families meet first, right? So the families meet first to see
Before you
Yeah.
two ever meet.
yeah, before we
Okay.
ever meet, the families meet first, where it gets to a point, like after a few phone calls, like, this is what my kid is doing, this is what my kid is doing, this is what she likes, blah, blah, you know, the basics. And then your the families meet as a unit, both of them, like up until like not even just like immediate family. I'm talking like some levels of like, you know, your extended family, like maybe your aunts and uncles are involved in that too.
Wow.
And then they kind of gather as a family unit. They figure out like, do family values align, And the main kind of filter or the main thing is that's being observed is the parents, right? Like, if the parents are good, that means they probably did a good job raising the kid,
Right.
Yeah.
right? So that like it's the root, right? Not always the case, but generally speaking, like if you've got a good household, you're gonna have a good family.
Right.
So that's kind of what's being determined at that level, and then once like everything is figured out and like the families kind of are 2 thumbs up, then the guy and the girl in question meet. And then they have their conversations, and it's all like initially maybe a little bit like formal, but then it kind of as you get to know each other and you're like, all right, we kind of align on this stuff, we don't align on this stuff, maybe a lot of phone conversations, a few kind of dates essentially.
Time out.
Yeah.
Is that here or in Pakistan?
That's my first
Pakistan, right?
question.
Yeah.
So, okay, but you said dates essentially. Like, do you actually go on a date with nobody around?
Yeah,
Like,
so in my case, I did. Yes.
Okay, cool.
But like, I made it very clear to my family, like, so this is my case, and this is the case for a lot of people, but it's also a lot of cases this does not happen as well, where it's like you give them room, but like there's also some sort of supervision, right? So that does happen. But in my case, and pretty much everybody I know, like after the families have approved and you both are kind of getting to know each other, and it's been a few phone calls maybe, and then your face-to-face meetings, and then maybe outside at a restaurant alone with no backstory to it, and you guys just kind of meet a few times face-to-face. But it's not where but the expectation is that you're doing this to get to know the other person for marriage. Like, that's the goal. Right?
Is that scary, or is it just culturally you understand it? I mean,
It wasn't scary at all. And honestly, like it's convenient in a way. You're not like, there's not pressure on you as an individual that you have to go find.
Do you get to bail out? So
Absolutely.
I'm not digging this.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Let's be honest. Like, if you're like, whoa.
I mean,
So it's basically like a blind date that's already been set up.
Right.
exactly.
vetted.
Yeah, your parents are your Tinder. Yeah.
So you already got the thumbs up.
All right.
Like, it's
Honestly,
I'm not.
I can kind of buy into that process as long as I got an out.
Makes
like,
things easier.
Yeah.
You know?
So that's how I met my wife.
Oh, cool.
Like, we went on a few dates, and we're like, all right, she seems to be value-wise aligned, and we're very. I mean, we hit it off, and like very quickly, very initially, and she was 100% and I was 100%. And we're like, yeah, let's. So like, yeah, that's like.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's so culturally, it's so different. Like, as we hear this, we're like, huh?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
and imagine that's the reaction you get from everybody.
Yeah, and that's why I wanted to take a moment to kind of explain what that means.
That's cool.
It's really just your family vetted process of dating. With the only thing is like it can't be the only, like, I think the big no would be like going on dates for 6 months or 4 months or something like that. That's not.
It happens
cool.
quick.
It happens very quick. Like once it's all approved, and like now you get to know each other. Go on 2-3 months of getting to know each
Now
other.
that's a problem for me because I have fallen in love quick. I'd be like, this girl's it.
Sometimes it takes a little longer.
Yeah. My family vetted them after. I was like, this is the girl. They're like, she's a stripper.
Yeah.
I'm like, former.
Okay. She's changed.
Yeah.
Change.
People change.
Sorry, mom. But but it is fascinating to hear that part. And so, how long y'all been married now?
5 years.
Cool. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So
You did it.
Yeah.
and last question on that. We'll pass.
Yeah.
How does your culture look on divorce? Is it like this thing's a big fat?
Yeah, big fat no. Like divorce is like I'm talking like extreme circumstances. Like the guy is violent.
Yeah.
Or you know, he's just a complete like deadbeat or
Big
something
fat
like
no-no.
that.
Okay.
Yeah, like other than that, you make it work.
So this thing's got to work.
Yeah.
It's been vetted.
Yeah.
And you're running this
No
course.
turning back.
No turning back. All right.
Yeah,
Yeah. Kind of like
like, yeah.
you ain't got no out.
Yeah,
Make
there's
it
no
work.
out. There's
Make
no
it
out.
work.
Like, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's changing a little bit as you know, it becomes more like if this was like a conversation we were having like 15, 20 years ago,
Yeah.
it would even be to the point where I wouldn't even say maybe like even in a, and this is not good, but even in a little bit of a violent circumstance or domestic abuse situation, like it would still be expected to kind of just make it work. Now, you know, I think the world,
Got
the West especially, but like the world as a whole has changed and in many ways positive to give more empowerment to ladies and kind of make the call like, all right, this is mentally complete torture,
Right.
and I can't live
Yeah.
like this, and so it's become a lot better, but it's still nowhere near the level of divorce rates that we look at in the U.S. or anything like that.
Yeah.
I don't think the world competes with that really, with the rates
Makes
that we
sense.
have here.
Yeah.
Right. Speaking of change, you guys have done a great job changing with the times and adapting, offering new products like David Chang's.
Yeah,
noodles.
Momofuku. Yeah.
And
That's crazy.
So like I've kind of seen the progression of how alcohol in the food and beverage industry has changed over time. We talked about the big craze of craft beer, the boom that kind of got y'all's wheels going. What are you guys into now?
I think beverage-wise, it's definitely. I mean, this is crazy. I was looking at this report yesterday of our own store and the sales. Shout out to the new POS system, which allows me to now do this. I can actually, like before, I was just like, I'm pretty sure this is what's happening, but I can't confirm it.
Right.
But we're officially now moving more hemp-based drinks than we are craft beer, which is crazy.
That is
Like,
crazy.
That is crazy because like we are one of the craft beer spots in the Tri-County area, right? And to be moving more hemp than craft beer is such a change in the sense that it's such a quick change. Right? Like it didn't, like I'm talking like pandemic happened, people I think went very hard on alcohol during that time, and then 2023 and onwards, it's in like just 2 years, it's flipped to a point where alternative beverages are selling better. People are looking more at it. People are becoming more curious about them. People are giving them a shot. So that is one of the big changes, and I think just in general, is at least for our location, our neighborhood, our people. It's like what's and it kind of ties back into that craft beer era where but it's just spread across where it's like what's new and what's interesting, right? Like and that's what we focus on at the shop is like anytime you walk in, right? On average, we're rotating 200 SKUs out and bringing 200 SKUs in.
Damn.
Yeah, like 40 to 50 beers a month easily, like 25 wines, we kind of change in and out, and then just across the rest of the departments, it's like, you know,
That's crazy.
sometimes you'll find Chinese Skittles or Japanese Oreos.
What's a Chinese Skittle?
Chinese Skittle is just a Skittle that they sell in China. It does not look like a Skittle at all, and it's
Freeze dried, right? Are they the ones that started the freeze dried? My kids are all over.
Yeah, the freeze dried was a thing, but not this one specifically. But yes, freeze
I
dried.
can't
Like
wait to go. Scott said y'all like one of the top places to go for disc golf equipment.
yeah, like disc golf is another thing that we do. We have
How big is the? So because I haven't seen it, so the audience hasn't seen it.
Right.
How big is it? How big is your store?
Oh, it's small compared to most kind of markets. It's 3,000 square feet. If
Okay,
technically
so-
2,700 square feet.
Okay.
How much of that is cooler space?
God,
A lot of it is cooler space.
a lot of it's cooler space. Yeah, I mean, God, at least 500 square feet is probably cooler space.
That's great.
Yeah.
Now you guys did y'all buy the property next door to expand your, or are you leasing that, or how's that work?
So that's another kind of a long story, but essentially,
We're safe. We're safe in the speakeasy.
Essentially, what happened was we had 5 years left on our lease, and this was back in 2022. And 5 years left on the lease. Landlord had made it clear, because we had a terrible relationship with him, that he will not be renewing our lease and he wants us out, right? And the reason why we had a terrible relationship with him was because our roof would constantly leak, like every time it would rain, just like now. Literally, the water would start falling on inventory, and he would not fix it. And it was in the lease that he has to fix it, and we went through lawyers and blah, blah, blah. It was a bad situation, bad relationship. He was not happy with us. We were not happy with him. And we knew he's never releasing it. He's never going to, renew it for us.
Yeah.
And we had to move in 5 years. So we were like thinking ahead. And that's where this rebrand kind of kicks in too. It's like, all right, I've got 5 years. Quick Stop is known right here in this specific location to this specific community. We want to move in Park Circle, but like if Scott told you about Quick Stop, you would, and it was spelled with Kwik, you would probably Google Quick,
Yeah.
right? And we would pop up maybe way below, or would not pop up at all, or there would be 20 different Quick Stops, that Kelly Quick Stop, this Quick Stop, and Quick Stop number 2.
Well, in all fairness, if you told me it was a Pakistani-owned Quick Stop, I would Google it with a K.
Good. Yeah, there you go. No, seriously. All the independent Quick Stops that are Indian Pakistani owned are gonna be a K. It's the corporate ones that are Qs.
Yeah, the Simpsons taught us that, man. Come on now, we're a child of the '90s.
But like we would be. I knew we were already getting lost in translation. Like if somebody is telling them about word of mouth and they're not immediately in the neighborhood. It got to a point where we had owners of other Quick Stops around the area stopping in at our store and being like, we're just here to look at what you're doing because we have people confusing this one with ours.
Wow.
And I was like, oh God, I need to do something about this. And then this 5-year lease thing happened, and we're like, oh God, we got to move into a space that is big enough to accommodate all what we want to do or what we're doing, and also needs to be in Park Circle, and we couldn't find anything. And I was like, and if we do move, it needs to be a name that is a little bit more unique. And like if we have to move out of here and to go further down North Rhett a little bit, we're kind of where the Waffle House and stuff like that is, because that's the only spot like we could find something at that moment in time. And I was like, oh God, if we have to move here, it's not that far away, but it's also not going to be. I mean, it didn't seem smart to continue in a new location with a name that's very generic. Right. So that's where the entire name change process started. I was like, all right, we gotta rebrand. We gotta think about this in a more. We just gotta think about it a little bit harder. And we couldn't find anything. And the speaking of divorce, the landlord started going through a divorce. Yeah.
I knew it the whole time. 2 years talking about it.
The landlord started going into a divorce, and and we got a little bit caught up in his entire thing because we were one of the tenants of one of the properties that they were arguing over or something like that, and that property included the mobile home lot that we had next to us. And keep in mind, this landlord. Was responsible for owning many mobile home parks, and he was used to dealing with people that don't want to have background checks, and they don't want to have credit score checked, and they just came out of jail or something, right? That's kind of the people that he was dealing with, and so he would have the same mindset when dealing with us, right? He was just used to that, and so he was always very like aggressive, very rude, very like just
He's conditioned to treat. Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
Like anything we would approach him for, he would just come back with like the harshest. Like I'm like, dude, like So it was just not a good relationship, and it came down to a point where now the landlady got the property out of the divorce, right? And we started talking to her, and we're like, hey, if you're interested in selling this, let us know anytime. And one of the smartest things my father did when he signed that lease back in 2010 for that spot was he included a right of first refusal.
Nice.
Right. So anybody listening out there, if you're signing a lease, that is a game changer.
I like
it. And so like even if the landlady wanted to sell it on the market, it would have to be offered to us first. We would have the right of first refusal to any offer that she would receive. Right. So we kind of had that protection. But then our relationship with the landlady went very sour for similar reasons. And
I was hoping that story would end up a little bit.
No. It was very much the same reasons. She was also kind of that sort of personality, and it wasn't working out, and we kind of found out like this is gonna be a very difficult transaction if at all. And at that moment we had that lot to the right going towards the circle, not towards the railroad, but towards the I would say the south. That lot was completely empty, undeveloped, very deep, very very hard property to develop. But we're like, you know what, this is right next to us. We've got 5 years left. Let's see if we can buy this, and maybe hopefully in 5 years we can develop it. And that's kind of to the point where we were, and up until that point we had gotten to signing off on the current property, buying it so many, this close, and something would happen, and it would just trigger the landlady, and it was just a bunch of issues in general. But we were like, you know what, screw this, we're getting that, and we're hoping we can develop it in time. And that's when we were literally the day of signing off on that and buying that property she found out that we're buying that, and she's like, all right, let's do this.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. And then we were like, oh shoot, this might be just a once in a lifetime kind of opportunity. We kind of we went talked to the bank, blah blah blah, made a bunch of things happen to where we were like, all right, we signed off on both. So now we have the entire kind of parcel over there.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So you got where the grassy
billboard
to the left,
and
and to the right.
yes.
And
Cool.
Yeah.
I like
But
it.
it all happened very
That's awesome.
spontaneously and very roughly and very not planned.
Yeah.
But it happened.
so where are we in the 5-year timeline?
From today?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you're looking at a Jadoons market that's going to be a proper neighborhood market, about 8,000 square feet. Hopefully with a in-house kitchen, doing very easy, quick, casual Pakistani, approachable food, and you're pairing it with whatever we're doing right now, but just a little bit more scaled up with a little bit more room to breathe, and then hopefully bringing it to a step closer to be a better neighborhood stop, a convenient neighborhood stop where people can find maybe ingredients to make something for the next 3-4 days. I hesitate to call it a grocery store because it won't be. Grocery stores typically are 30,000 square feet, 40,000 square feet,
Right.
different operation, different buying powers, economy of scale, where we just can't compete or even, I'm not even interested in competing or in that. It's just about being, again, just a tad bit better than where we are. And at the moment, I think we just need some space, some breathing room to kind of do what we want. I think there's a huge potential for a lot of frozen, ready to go meals.
I love
There's a potential to bring in a lot more ethnic-based products that would be interesting to people. There's potential to have some level of produce, organic, locally farmed, stuff like that. And then just think a smaller Trader Joe's, if you will.
Yeah.
But with a great beer selection, hemp selection, and disc golf.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
So have you played disc golf?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
You gonna drink? You gonna play disc golf? Do you cook? Are you gonna cook?
I do.
Okay,
enjoy
like, let's
it.
trick it.
We're buying it all.
And hemp is of interest to me as well.
Okay, cool.
I
Oh, we got one.
Yeah. So what
Yeah.
other products does Jadoons put out? So I know you guys started. You got your own drinks now.
We have
else you
a
got?
collaboration on a hemp drink with Five Flowers, a North Carolina company.
Cool.
And we came up with the flavor idea, and it's masala lemonade. So we do that in a collaborative basis, but we have our rice, the basmati rice. It's a specific type of basmati found in Punjab, Pakistan. Probably the best region for basmati rice, in my opinion. And
I'm gonna pick some up.
It's specifically Sela basmati, which is just a better version of basmati. Sorry, nerded out on rice for a second.
Yeah,
but
no.
again, it kind of ties back into that where, South Carolina, especially Charleston, is very much a rice place.
Yep.
Carolina Gold rice, historically, and kind of just tying that back in from our roots. But the masala lemonade, the rice, we do our own pre-rolls of THCA hemp products, and then we have our gummies.
So, but we don't need to get into the law discussion, but it still confuses the people have explained it to me a million times of how it's legal, and I go, huh? I asked Nick, our cop friend. I said,
Yes.
how?
Nick. What's
How?
up?
And he goes, here's what I said, what happens if I'm smoking one of these pre-rolls that I bought legally
Yeah.
and I'm having it at a concert? Because he was at a concert next to me while I was having one.
Yeah.
Well, we went to
Maybe not shout out,
yeah,
Nick.
yeah. Shout out, Nick. But I asked him, I said, would you arrest me? And he goes, I would take you in, and then we would test it. And he said, oh, by the way, if you were being an asshole, if you were not, we would have a discussion about it.
Yeah.
I would give you probably a DWI, and that would be the end of it. I said, but no legal ramifications. I said, because I'm curious how he's handling it.
Yeah.
But I don't need to get into legal details, but has it been an easy transition for you to do that? Is it a lot of red tape to cut through? Is it a loophole? Like, what is...
It's a gray area. It's a loophole. There's still debates happening at the federal and state level about it. Nothing really has been passed. There are a few things that everybody agrees on, which is basic stuff like making sure each and every product that's coming out has a COA, which is a certificate of analysis. So making sure the customer's getting what they signed up for versus some craziness in there or something like that. Age verification, 21 and above.
Okay.
And any self-respecting place is doing those two things already.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Any good manufacturer, any good farm, any good retailer, any good distributor is already making sure those things are happening. And we're not any different.
Yeah.
But I think those are just some common sense things that should be implemented. But having said that, the rest of it is definitely a gray area. There's legislation and literature out there that's gonna ban flour, so pre-rolls would be included in that. But the drinks would remain. There's some that would ban everything completely, and then there's some that's it has to be out of reach of the customer, kind of how tobacco is. We're cigarettes behind the counter.
Yeah.
So stuff like that. And then there's even potential of it to be treated kind of like how liquor is treated in the state, where you have to go to specifically a liquor store, so it would become more like a dispensary kind of element.
Yeah.
So, but like I said, all of this is just ideas that are being discussed at the federal level and regulatory bodies and whatnot. Nothing's really set in stone. Some counties and sheriff departments and departments have done their own kind of implementations of some things. I think there's a county upstate that the sheriff department frowns upon it very heavily, and you can't have any flour whatsoever.
I guess that's so county, just like they would have a dry county,
kind of
same thing. So
yeah,
they can make their own laws.
yeah.
Interesting.
So it's very gray area, and it becomes anything like that becomes high risk in the sense of how much can you invest into it, because you never know what's going to happen to it, kind of thing. But it's right now as we speak, everything is technically legal. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, think we're running out of time.
Yep.
We have to shout out our main guys over here at Holy City before we get off. We are once again back in the Speakeasy.
What do you think of the Speakeasy?
I think it's great. I think it's amazing, and the most impressive thing is the fact that it is so well hidden. I was like, this is So I think that was mind blowing. Honestly, like that was not expected at all,
cool.
And that's what kind of sets the entire tone of the place.
Yeah, that's very cool.
And I can't wait for it to actually become a fully functioning.
Yep.
Yeah. So speaking of plans in the future, what do you have popping? What's coming up in the next, let's say, month or two for you guys?
Nothing crazy right now. We just came out of a few events and stuff like that. So especially with the baby, I'm trying to like kind of take it a little bit easy. Having said that, we are in talks with a local great guys, Carolina Dream, and we're in talks with producing a gummy, another gummy, a Jadoons gummy. They're
Does that sound weird coming at like a Jadoon's gummy?
I never imagined it. But like right now we have a one, but that's like a traditional edible experience.
Okay.
What we're developing right now is something that's going to have a very unique flavor, something that's inspired from Pakistan.
Yeah.
It's going to kind of how our masala lemonade was. So flavor-wise, it's going to be unique, but effect-wise is what I'm really excited for, because those wizards at Carolina Dream can make a gummy hit in 20 minutes, which is very rare in the edible space. And they can come up with a way, and we're testing this right now, of how a gummy kind of makes you feel couch-locked and kind of mellow, and then as it wears off, you kind of get tired and sleepy. We're trying to make one that's going to be more suitable for like concerts and social gatherings, and you have one, and you're not like you want to do some chores in a more of a mood, right? And you want to listen to some music, but you're not to a point where like, oh, I just had this gummy, I plan on doing all these things, but now I just want to watch Netflix and go to sleep, right? So like the opposite of that is kind of the intention. So we're working on that right now. So I'm a little excited for that.
It's just fascinating to hear your name attached, like the Jadoon gummy. If I was like, this is the Tony gummy, my parents would be like, what the fuck have you been doing with your life? But it's awesome. No, it's so cool. Yeah. All right, ready to bring this bad boy home?
Yeah. Well, thanks again.
No, thank you for having me. This was
I'm looking forward to seeing it. We're gonna have in some other footage.
No,
all right.
awesome.
So as always, like and subscribe if you like what you heard. You know we're new to this space, so please share, like, make some comments if you like what you heard. And obviously, where can they find you?
Jadoon's Park Circle Market, right by Park Circle, 5137 North Red Avenue.
All right, and any socials? I heard your social game's on fire.
Jadoon's Market on Instagram and Jadoon's Market on Facebook.
All right, cool. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
One last question before we go. We ask everybody, who should we uncork next?
Oh, God. Man, if you can get Shuai from Jackrabbit Philly.
Yes, one of my favorite restaurants.
Let's go.
I think he's done an incredible job for Charleston in general, and I think or somebody in the restaurant space like Dashi or Mam Sab's Rahil Guaba, folks like that. I think would be very, very fascinating people to listen to.
I'm in.
Yeah.
All right, man. Thank you for coming, man. Really appreciate it. Let's go to Jadoons, baby.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Charleston Uncorked. The only way we are going to grow is if you tell your friends. So please like, subscribe, and share. We would be eternally grateful. Thank you again for listening to this episode of Charleston Uncorked. We hope you enjoyed.